are live. Good evening, everyone. Happy Saturday. I can't believe another week has gone by. Welcome to Rising Up with Jeryl Ann. I'm your host, Jeryl Ann, and I am so happy to have you here with me this evening. And I am very, very happy to have with me my very special guest, Terry Angel. Please join me in welcoming Terry. Hi, Terry.
Hi, Jeryl, and hi, everyone.
I am so excited to have you here this evening. And please, if everyone would share this out, that would be absolutely wonderful. I originally had another guest scheduled for tonight. So Terry, she is sitting in at the last minute. She saved me so I wouldn't have to come in here all by myself. But the content is exactly going to be the same from Terry's perspective and my perspective. Tonight, we're going to talk about forgiveness and how important and how transformative forgiveness is in our lives. And also, we're going to explore Ho'oponopono, which is an incredible forgiveness technique that I personally use at least right now about 2 hours a day. And the other thing we're going to talk about that I know a lot of people are interested in, including myself, are a thing called the Akashic Records. And so Terry is an Akashic Records reader and knows all about it. So she's going to inform us on that tonight. So welcome, Terry. Would you like to get this party started with a little bit on, let's talk about forgiveness while I share out on my phone. How's that sound?
Oh, that sounds just wonderful. And hello to all of you that are popping in. I see your names. I see your heart, and I see that you are here tonight to be immersed in energy that is uplifting and loving. And that's what we're all about. So welcome. And let's talk about what forgiveness is. First, let's talk about what forgiveness isn't. Forgiveness is not about anybody except you, the person that is going into that method, that energy of forgiveness. Because here's the thing, if you have had your feelings hurt, somebody said something or somebody's done something and you've reacted, you are allowing whatever happened, you're allowing a person's words or their actions to affect you. You have a choice. So we can't control anybody else. We can't wave a wand or say a word and somebody acts differently. Everyone is here doing their own part, playing their own role. I always relate it to, this is my movie, and these actors that are the supporting actors in my movie, they're playing a role. So sometimes they're playing a role of showing us something. Sometimes it's not something we want to see. And so buttons are pushed and emotions come up. And we're like, you did that. You made me feel this way. Anybody ever said, you made me do this or you made me feel this way?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm pointing my finger back at me because until I fully understood, nobody can make you do anything.
Right.
You have choice. That's our superpower. We have a choice. And when we allow other people's actions and other people's energy, their words and their actions to affect us, that's us giving that power away. Nobody made you do it. Okay. And like, was it Flip Wilson that used to say, the devil made me do it?
Devil made me do it. Yeah.
It has to be somebody to point the finger at, right? It couldn't be me. So when we think about forgiveness and forgiving somebody for what they did, it's like, okay, why am I forgiving? And who am I forgiving, for God's sake? What's that all about?
Yeah.
Forgiveness is about you. It's about you.
It is, Terry. And here's the other thing that I'm finding, we talk a lot about, you and I talk about this a lot on our morning show and everything else. We are so used to being in this 3D consciousness. We are shifting and growing into a fifth dimensional consciousness of love. But to do that, we can't take our 3D baggage with us. So here's what I'm finding is happening for me. Oftentimes, when I have an emotional reaction to someone or something, it's a trigger within myself to look at. I may look at someone doing something that that has hurt my feelings or whatever. Well, or even a behavior of someone else's. And this is kind of how we're going to lead into this whole Ho'oponopono as well. There's many things of forgiveness that for me needs to take place. One is the presumed victimization that I've experienced in my life. And I say presumed because there are no victims and I've long since gotten past that. But that doesn't mean I still don't have those memories of that and knowing it that way. The other thing is judgment. I may see a behavior in someone else that I don't particularly care for. It feels really icky in me. And what I'm seeing there is a mirror. It's not about them. It's about me. It's about that aspect that I'm seeing in them that I'm not that crazy about. I have within me. So I need to forgive myself for judging them, first of all, and ask mostly for forgiveness from myself to release any harm I've done to them by judging them.
Mhm.
Does that make sense to
Absolutely.
you?
Absolutely. It is, this is a case where it is all about us.
Yeah.
It
We
really
were
is all about
100%
us. And
responsible.
I just went through this today with a client because she was wanting to know how can I change this situation where this person is so mean? And I just had to just really explain to her that person is just playing their role. They're just doing what they came here to do in your life, to be that mirror. Doesn't mean that you're a mean person, but it means that they're showing you something inside of you that needs to come up to be healed. Maybe it's that you need to own your power more. Maybe it's that you need to lose some criticism and some judgment about how somebody is, that they're mean. That's a judgment.
Right.
So it's all these things that are happening. We see ourselves as separate from each other because I don't look like Jeryl Ann. She doesn't look like me. So I see her as a separate entity, a separate person. But really, she's just a fragment of me. She's playing a part in my movie, showing me different aspects of myself by her actions, by her words. And sometimes they're really good. Sometimes she's showing me a really good, happy aspect. And sometimes it's like, okay, what do I need to look at here? The inside of myself, not inside of her. She's just doing her part. So it comes down to seeing that person that you have this distancing or this era of something is not right
Right.
with that. It's just seeing them in their perfection as they're living their existence. They're doing it perfectly.
Right.
And yeah, it's not easy sometimes to see that. It's not so easy to say, wow, that's about me,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing. I want to read a statement from Dr. Hu Lan, who is he. Of course, we're going to talk about Ho'oponopono, which is a phenomenal Hawaiian forgiveness practice. Initially, it was used between islands to mediate between tribes, and it also is used in family practices in Hawaii to mediate resolutions within families. And of course, initially it was conducted by healers and shamans and priests within the community, and they would come together and as a family, and they would everyone had a right to speak, to say what was going on, and then they would do the Ho'oponopono, and then the forgiveness would occur, and then they would have a meal together. It's a very sacred ritual, and I was telling you earlier, it reminds me of EFT. I didn't know why it worked, but if I did a certain thing, it worked, and it was anecdotal. It's the same way with Ho'oponopono. And Terry, you've had some experience with it as well. And one of the tenets of Ho'oponopono is that we are 100% responsible. Exactly what you were just saying. That person is divine perfection. And when you have healed that or forgiven that in yourself and gone back to what they call 0 point, you don't see that in the other person anymore. Have you had that experience?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I came across Ho'oponopono about, I think, almost 7 years ago now. And it was part of my experience after a very traumatic time in my life, what many people call the dark night of the soul, and being wandering through that wilderness and just not knowing how to even get out of it. And that's when my guides, my spirit guides, led me to use the Ho'oponopono with everything in my life. And it didn't matter if that person was alive or if they weren't alive anymore. There were things inside that had to be healed. And this is the way to do it, is through releasing that energy. That's exactly what this does. It releases energy attached to an experience.
And I did want to say this because I do have something I'd like to read here. But Stacy Small Lord asked, "How do you forgive someone who is mean to your children? That is so hard for me." And I understand that from one aspect. These are very, very difficult things that we don't feel that we can forgive because it's behavior that is unconscionable or whatever. Terry, would you like to address that a little bit as well? Because I know there's a delicate way to give her some help with this. But again, it comes back to responsibility.
It does come back to responsibility and just the conversation that we've been having of seeing that person playing their role. Now, that doesn't mean if there's abuse happening, you just ignore that and say, I'm sorry, forgive me, thank you, I love you.
Yeah.
But when you change inside of you, those perceptions of mean, what does it mean to be mean? That person is not a good person. When we start changing our inside and releasing our preconceived notions of how things are supposed to be, that they're supposed to be right or wrong, the true Hawaiian meaning of Ho'oponopono is to make right more right.
Yes.
So seeing that person, like we said, in their perfection of what they're doing in their role in this lifetime, and then going into the whole prayer mode of Ho'oponopono. So I want to share with you the hardest one that I had to do. And this was back when I really didn't fully understand about somebody playing a role and that we're all in each other's lives for that purpose, and that reason is to help each other to clear out all that stuff inside of us emotionally and spiritually. And the person that I had the hardest time with doing Ho'oponopono was my sexual predator that had abused me as a child. And I remember very clearly saying to my spirit guide, there is no way that I can forgive that person. And that's when I got the huge lesson. It's not about that person. And my guide kept saying that. And I'm thinking, well, then can I just skip over this? Can I just leave that one alone and not have to do this? And it's like, no, because that was in your experience and it's in there in your emotional state. So, Stacy, what I would say to you is to go into that place of seeing, first of all, that person playing their role. This is a movie, they're playing a supporting role in your movie, and they're doing it perfectly. They're doing it to help you understand more fully your spirituality, more fully the fact that you are spirit and that you are one. You're one with this person. And I know that's a hard concept. That was my hardest concept to grasp. I'm like, there's no way, angels, there's no way that I'm one with this person that did this horrible thing to me. But it's like, yep, this is true. And so it's changing our inside to change our outside. That's really what it's all about. And again, like I said, if there is actual like physical abuse, then something has to interfere with that. But
Yeah,
for you, the lesson, very real lesson is, what is this showing up as in myself? How do I handle this in me?
you do have a responsibility to handle and stop whatever that abuse
Right,
is. But
exactly.
and let me share also with you, I've, I have been doing the whole Ho'oponopono now probably for the last 2 years, but I mean, even in the last few months, I do it. I was doing it anywhere. I do it a minimum of 2 hours a day, up to 5 hours a day. And there are days I just go and isolate myself, and that's what I do. And I'll do it for almost 5 hours. I've had some really, really, really horrific things happen to me, and even recently, some real big hurts. And so I go right in and I do the whole Ho'oponopono. We're going to share that with you all, the prayer that you do, and it, Stacy, it completely changes. And here's the weird thing. Once you've done it and you've done it to where you have no emotional charge to it, like a negative charge, when you get to 0 point, this point of no thought, no emotion, just calm, and there's void, like a state of void. Um, you it When you see that person again, I guarantee you, if you see that person in person again, their whole attitude towards you is going to change. It is like a miracle drug, I'm telling you. I almost on a daily basis, I see this happen in my life. And this is why I wanted to do this show tonight, because it has literally changed my life on so many levels and all of my relationships that I have. It's remarkable stuff. And it isn't just your immediate relationships, it's, even people just out there. I even did it with Mother Earth, and I'll get into that later. But it truly, I promise you, if you follow this and do this, it will change your dynamic, your emotional dynamic with that person. It really
Yeah,
will.
it absolutely does.
What I'd like to do, if everyone would indulge me for just a moment, there are a lot of people you can learn the whole Ho'oponopono from, and there's a couple of different ways. There's 4 statements that you make, and we're going to go over those. And it doesn't matter which order you put them in. There's like 2 main ways. It just depends on what lineage you go with. But I wanted to read this to you because it really grasps the essence of what Ho'oponopono is. And this is from Dr. Hugh Len. And this is what he stated. And this was in a video, and I wrote it out verbatim because this is his message to everyone out there, and the way he talks about it. The only purpose in your life and mine is the restoration of our identity, our mind, back to its original state of void, or zero, as Buddha called it, purity of heart, as Jesus stated, and of blank, a Shakespearean term, through nonstop cleaning. For him, Ho'oponopono is cleaning. We're using those words interchangeably. It is in the void at zero where divine love resides, providing inspiration for perfect relationships, perfect health, and perfect wealth. The responsibility and the function of the conscious mind, the intellect, is to initiate the cleaning, to care for the subconscious, to teach it the cleaning process, and to ask divinity for directions. The conscious mind is clueless as to what memories are replaying. 11 million per second is in the subconscious mind. Only divine love can transmute toxic memories to pure energies. Divine love is the only source and inspiration and enlightenment. The conscious mind does not perform these functions. The subconscious, as the supercomputer, is the key in the self-identity through the Ho'oponopono cleansing process. If loved and cared for, the subconscious mind becomes an ally, cleaning nonstop even as we sleep. I wish you and your family, relatives, and ancestors peace beyond all understanding. Peace of I, Dr. Hugh Len. Isn't, does that not sum it up perfectly?
Yeah, it truly does. And that is what happens when we start taking responsibility. We're
Yes.
the only one responsible for us, nobody else. And each person is responsible for themselves. And there is nothing that we can do to change anyone else. But this Ho'oponopono, when you're doing that, it changes you. And as we are reflecting from our mirror to them, we're reflecting something different. We're reflecting that acceptance. We're reflecting that I'm clearing and cleaning, as he says. We're reflecting that I just love you. I love you. And that's hard to say sometimes for us humans, right? That's hard to say to somebody that we perceive has harmed us in some way, whether it was an abuser, either physical, mental, spiritual. It's really hard to come up with those words until you do that deep dive, until you really get into what it means to accept the responsibility that I'm the only one that can change me.
Right.
I want to stay in that anger and that hatred and all of those emotions from my experiences, then that's only going to hurt me. It's not hurting anybody else.
And that's what Ho'oponopono does. It takes, the only enemy is our memories. That's the enemy. And we say, you know, how can I forgive that that's out there? How can I forgive this? How can I forgive that? Here's the thing. Nothing is out there. Everything is in here. What you're not fighting out there. You're fighting the memories, the subconscious memories that we're not even aware. I mean, 11 million, you know, every how many seconds in the subconscious mind, we're reacting. We are reacting. And so what the whole Pono is to take us back to ground zero, to our true divine state. So if ever there's an emotional response, and you know, the other part is I love you is I love you house, I love you body, I love you world, I love you. I love you. Love you, love you, love you. I love everything around me because that's there's either love and everything else doesn't matter. Love, that's what matters. And then I'm sorry, Terry.
Okay, so here again, you're owning your responsibility. I've had so many clients that I've worked with that I teach them the Ho'oponopono. And they're like, I can't say that. I can't say that. I can't say that to this person again, thinking that they're doing something to something or someone outside of themselves. So for me, I start the Ho'oponopono with I'm sorry, because I want to get right to the heart of what I'm dealing with. There is something not right. And Ho'oponopono means to make right more right. So if I've looked at it like it's not in alignment for me, then there's something that's wrong. And that's a judgment, but that's my thought process. There's something that's not hooking up here. It's not connecting. So I want to start right at that point. I want to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this is not connecting. I'm sorry for how this has come to be. So I want to immediately go into that energy of, wow, let's make this right. It's not right. Let's make it right. So that's the first thing that I address when I do Ho'oponopono, and it sets it up for me. It's like, now I know what I'm dealing with. I'm dealing with something that needs to come together, that needs to connect, something that's not connecting. And this can be your emotions. Your emotions may be all over the place, and especially if it's anger, and you'll go into different emotions with it. And so bringing those emotions to a state of acceptance is going to require addressing it. You have to address it. You have to address the issue before you can deal with the issue.
And I'd like to make a really clear point. Again, as I said in the beginning, there are a couple of ways. Some people say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you. They put the I love you at the bottom. Right now, I'm going through a program where I'm becoming certified as a Ho'oponopono coach. And so this is how they do it. There's two ways. And so that's why I did it this way, because I have to repeat this over and over within these classes that I'm doing. But there is not a wrong way. There is not a wrong way. It's really what resonates with you. And in fact, I learned it the way Terry just said, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And so, and the other part, there's each one of these is such a simple statement, but there's so much to it. And you know, it's I'm sorry that I judged you. I'm sorry if I hurt you, because in some cases, you know, or I'm sorry I did something that hurt you so badly, because Ho'oponopono isn't just about forgiving others. It's about forgiving ourselves, or and asking for forgiveness from the soul of another person that you may have hurt. So it works, forgiveness works all the way around the pole, you know. It's like me forgiving you, you forgiving me. It really we really encompass all of life in a Ho'oponopono. And so in that, I'm sorry, you know. And then please forgive me, Terry.
Yeah. And again, that forgiveness is not about anybody else. When you're doing the Ho'oponopono, this is a clearing method. This is clearing your energy. So as you do the recognizing what's going on, recognizing the issue, there's something there, like I said, that's not in alignment. And then please forgive me. Please forgive any part that I played in that coming out of alignment and it not being made right. So you can focus on another person, or you can just focus on, I'm sorry for my part that I played in this. I'm sorry for anything that I did that wasn't in perfection, in my present state, in my soul state, anything that I did that created a rift, that created that tear in the perfection of that energy. So for me, I do that. I go into totally owning whatever it is that happened, whatever it is in my life, that there's a dissonance, there's something that's not quite together there. I go into forgiving, but it's not addressed to any person. It's forgiving, period.
Right. And it goes back to we are 100% responsible.
Mhm.
What we see in others, what comes in, we pull into our reality the energetics that we carry within us. This is one of the hardest truths for me, my truth, to accept, is that I do create my reality.
Mhm.
And if there is something within me that feels I deserve bad treatment, or that I deserve to be hurt, it doesn't have to be a conscious thing. It could come from all the way back when I was a child, when kids bullied me and said, you're not worthy and you're ugly and you're fat and you don't deserve to be loved. Or maybe you were in an abusive relationship. Those things, whether we're conscious of them, and here's the thing, 95% of our time, we live out of our subconscious mind.
Mhm.
It's in control. 5% of our waking time are we conscious about our choices and about what we're pulling in.
Mhm.
So these things, we're not victims. Life happens to us so that we can see where these unconscious or subconscious parts that are not healthy for us are. So we're saying, please forgive me, because that is within me is pulling something out of you to act out. And I know, as your divine soul, as your divine spirit, you're pure love. And in your divinity, you would never have done that to me, nor would I have done that to you. So please forgive me. Let's forgive each other. Yeah. And thank you.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. Yes.
Yes, eat, breathe, speak gratitude, because that is the energy of love. It's the energy that just recognizes the spirit in each other and says, I am so grateful for you. Thank you. Thank you. And as part of this method of forgiveness, that's what you're doing. You're recognizing that you're the same soul, you're the same spirit. You just look a little different in these human bodies. So once you get to that part of the release, releasing that energy of whatever it was that was brought up to heal, and you've done that work of aligning it and really bringing that energy of forgiveness in, then go into to thank you. Thank you. I'm just really grateful that you're part of me. I'm grateful that you've helped me in this human journey. So it's so easy once you get past that initial bringing things back into alignment. Then you want to say gratitude. Then you want to share how you're feeling inside, because we know when things are going so right, when everything is just flowing, we call it in the flow. Don't we just want to share with everybody that happiness, that joy? That's what gratitude is. It's just wanting to share it.
Absolutely. And I promise you, you know, and I say this because I do it all day long. As we go through our day, if there's anything that disrupts our peace, then it doesn't, and if it's someone, or maybe it's something that triggers you, just go within, take yourself away, you know, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, I love you, or I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. And just repeat that over and over and over till you can think about that person or that situation, whatever it is. And there's no emotional charge, because it is all about going back to 0 point and coming to that place of peace and tranquility. And that is, and as they said, he made it that statement of, that is where inspiration comes from. That is where guidance comes from. I was out in the yard. I go out and I ground every day. And I was doing the Ho'oponopono, of course. And I got through the issue I was dealing with. And all of a sudden, I had this most incredible inspiration, creative idea. I mean, it was like, oh my gosh, this is so exciting. And because I had transformed that stuff that was within me, and this creative idea came in that I can't wait to do. And it was just amazing. And when I saw this statement today, I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't even know about it. But it's so true. When you do the Ho'oponopono, it clears your mind
Mhm.
for other things. And has that been your experience as well, Terry, when that happens for you?
Yeah, it definitely does. And I do, the angels actually inspired a method called release that I work with, and it incorporates the Ho'oponopono. And after we clear out whatever it is that was in there, all that yuck, then we bring in manifestation, because it's totally ripe then. You've cleared out the low vibration. It's time to pull in the high vibration. And we can talk about that when we get to that point.
Yeah. And when I do it, Terry and I are both ad heart facilitators, and it's heart brain coherence. And we have this monitor that we put on our ear and clip it to our shirt. And we do this breathing work. It's breathing into the count of 5 and holding it to 5, and exhaling to 5 and holding. And you run this pattern all the time, thinking of some compassion, caring, gratitude, some type of feeling like of that sort. So we were doing this. I do this all the time. And so I thought, I'm going to do the Ho'oponopono to it. And I had my monitor on, and I've tested this like extensively, time and time and time again. I don't even wear my monitor anymore because it is the same every single time. And I breathe in and say, I breathe in, I love you. I hold it to 5, and I exhale, I'm sorry. And I hold it for 5. Please forgive me. Inhale, hold it for 5. Thank you. Hold it for 5. And I do that 5 count. And so I'm doing the ad heart, the heart brain coherence. And I really feel as if it even amplifies the effect even more. And doing the heart brain coherence also really, it has so many benefits to your body, so many benefits to your mentality, everything. So I've actually combined those 2 techniques and with great success, And Terry, we have a whole lot of people that have hopped on and said hello to us. I want to say hi to everybody that's out there watching us and kind of hanging out with us tonight on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's great to see all of you, and we're so happy that you are here. Like we said, on a Saturday night, even.
I know.
We've had this running joke about what day it is, and sometimes it's like I don't even know anymore. It's just today.
I know. It's like the only thing that marks it is different shows for different days. Like the only reason I know it's Saturday is I woke up and went, oh, I have a show tonight. Okay. So at least I know what day Saturday is. The rest kind of blend together for me. So, Terry, since we're, I think everybody's kind of got the idea of how to do Ho'oponopono. And I do want to say, when you're doing this technique, really feel the energy as best you can, especially in the beginning. Sometimes it's really hard. If somebody has really hurt you, you may have to do this over and over and over. For example, a year ago, September, so it's been almost 2 years ago, I did a 21-day water only fast. And I didn't work. I was completely in isolation. I meditated the whole time. And I did my life in review for 21 days. And I did the Ho'oponopono. And I've had some pretty painful experiences with family members and, people that I've trusted, loved. And there are still people that even from then that I'm still doing Ho'oponopono with. But I can tell you this much, every single relationship that I've done that with, and it's virtually all of them. I mean, I literally spent 21 days writing my whole life history out, relationships, everything. And the ones I've hurt people, the ones that have hurt me. And it has changed. And Terry has seen this because Terry's around my family. She's around my friends. We know a lot of people in common. She can testify that it has totally changed each and every relationship in my life, without exception. So stay with it. Stay with it. Don't give up. If you don't have release from that situation right away, hang in there with it, because there are some I've done it for months and months and years with. Okay. But where I'm at today and where I was. Yeah, Terry.
I just want to add that just get past the preconceived idea that anybody out there can make you do anything or make you feel a certain way. Once you get past that, once you realize and take responsibility for how you're feeling inside and what's going on inside of you, it's easier to say these words. If you can't say the words, and I've had clients that say, I just can't say that. And I said, okay, then just say that Ho'oponopono word.
Yeah.
Just say that because it has an energy to it. Words have energy. So as you're saying that, that energy is going out for whatever it is you're holding in your heart. The other thing I want to say is how I work with people with Ho'oponopono is I have them identify where you're being affected inside of your body. Because if you're holding an energy, whether it's anger or sadness or regret, whatever it might be, you're holding it somewhere in your physical body. So I have the person identify where do you feel it? And you all can do that right now.
Yeah.
If something comes to your mind, there's something that's not right. Remember, it's not in alignment. Something is not just quite matching up in its alignment. Focus on where that's affecting you in your body. Is it in your heart? Is it in your solar plexus? Just feel where that's at and feel how much it's affecting you. How big is that inside of you? And then start doing this. Just start saying, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. And if you can't say the words, just say Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono, and do it over and over and over again until you feel a shift. There will be a shift. I guarantee you there will be a shift. That is the power. Jeryl Ann and I talked before the show. This is so powerful. If you open up to it and you lose those preconceived ideas that somebody out there is responsible and you own your responsibility, and then you say, okay, let me try this. So you start talking to that energy that's inside of you, that's sitting there, that doesn't feel good at all. Start talking to it and say, do the Ho'oponopono. There's a lot of people that use this that call it doing the ho. Do the ho.
Yeah, I know. That's what Kathleen and I call it. It's a lot easier. It's a lot. Yeah, I'm doing the hoe today. Yeah.
Right. But you can just say the word. You don't have to go into if these words trigger you, and the word love sometimes triggers people. The word forgive me, so that sometimes triggers people. If you're having a problem with that part of it, don't worry about it. Just say Ho'oponopono.
Absolutely.
Make this easy for you. Make it easy and something you resonate with. And then you're going to notice that shift. And
Terry, I don't
promise
know.
there will be a shift.
Then there will be, and I wanted to add to that real quick, but I want to go back. I want to go to Wendy's question, if you can see it on your screen or not. But I wanted to bring up a couple of things too on that. I have a place on my foot that almost there are times I can't walk on my right foot. It's a long story, but it is actually, we just discovered it came from a previous life when I was a young warrior in Africa, and I stepped on something and I got poisoned and I died. And so I've been doing the Ho'oponopono on that spot in my foot to relieve the pain and the illness from it here. If you have an illness in your body, you can use it for that, because all disease or pain, all physical things come from an emotional imbalance, emotional, mental, spiritual imbalance, whether it's from this lifetime or another lifetime, it doesn't matter. You can use this on everything. Go up your chakra system. Terry does a lot of chakra clearing, and she takes people through a lot of chakra clearings. I happened to one day when I was down in the tiny house doing this, it was one of my 5-hour stints. I had the guided message to go through each chakra. And I started at my root chakra and do the Ho'oponopono until I felt the release. And then I moved to the next chakra. That took me a couple of hours to get through my entire chakra system. So it moves in and out of time and space. It moves in and out of any body part. It doesn't matter what it is. You can use the Ho'oponopono on it. And did you see Wendy's question?
Wendy's question is this similar to Nam Myoho Renge Hokkaido? And I don't know the translation of that chant. I know it is a chant. I'm sure if it has to do with forgiveness, that there's, you can use anything, any modality. There are so many out there. So find what resonates with you. If that's something that feels good when you say it and when you hear it, go with that. This is one modality that we're sharing here. That's just, it's simple, it's easy, it's powerful in its effects, and it is immediate. When I do a release session with somebody, by the end of that session, they notice that shift, and they notice that that energy that was stuck in there that felt so awful, it either disappears or it reduces tremendously, and they can continue to work on it then. So I've had the scientific proof that we all love evidence. I've had the proof from clients that there was that shift that happened, and there was a difference in their energy field as they release that stuck energy that they've been holding on to. And I always say, why would you want to hold on to something that's harming you? It's not hurting anybody else for you to be
Exactly.
angry or for you to go into depression and sadness. That's not hurting anybody. You know, that person that was an abuser and you're so angry and so hateful and want to spit nails at them, that's not hurting them at all. They're on their merry way abusing somebody else, probably.
Uh,
But you are the one that's holding that energy, and you're the only one that can release it from you.
right. It translates to I dedicate my life to the mystic law of cause and effect. I think that it's the focus of this is a little bit different, but I think that's a beautiful chant, and
Right.
it's a very, very lovely chant, and one that is many, many, many people who chant Buddhists do that chant. So
I
yeah, I
love
was going to say
it.
we needed Jason here or Karen here, but thank you, Wendy. That's yeah, it this is a very deep for sacred forgiveness practice. So it's but all healing leads to the same place. All of these techniques, every single technique that Terry does, that I do, this is just one way to practice forgiveness, which is really so important in this time. Compassion, forgiveness, gratitude, love. And so it's really, really just one way. All ways lead to God. All ways lead to transformation. And that way that your husband is doing, I'm telling you what, there are literally millions of people on this planet that are doing it that way that are getting great results. Let me put it that way.
And Scarlett's doing the hoe tonight.
Yes,
I love
exactly.
it. I
I
love
know. I have a girlfriend up in Tennessee, and she and I have been. In fact, she was one of them that I learned this with several years ago. We're both life. We went to life coach school together, and so now we just have to short term it like on the text and just go, yeah, been hoeing again all day, and and that also makes us laugh. It really does, but but by the time you're gone through it, you're feeling so good. Terry can always tell when I've been in my room and doing the Ho'oponopono, because I come out like, oh, I'm happy again.
better than a pill.
I know it is. Hey, I used to pay big money to feel like I feel like today. And let me put it to you this way, this is legal too. I love it. I absolutely love it. Terry, we're running out of time, and I really
I
do
see
want to talk
that.
about the Akashic records, because I talked about my foot because some pain came from another lifetime. Let's
Mhm.
just touch on the Akashic records. Would you tell everybody out there what the Akashic records are and go from there?
Okay, so the Akashic Records, it's everything that has ever happened. So as you have lived, all of us have lived multiple lifetimes and are living multiple lifetimes. The angels just corrected me on that, because there is no past, there is no future, there just is. So everything is happening on different levels of dimension. These Akashic records, as they're termed, they're an energy that resides in the etheric realm, and we all have access to them. We can at any time go into our records. And what I do is do a meditation. And it's a specific meditation, asking first of all for the gatekeepers, because yes, we have gatekeepers that protect our energy, because There's all kinds of energy out there. So you want your energy always to be in divine love and light. And we have a gatekeeper that assures that. So you have to ask the permission for the gatekeeper to allow you to access the records. And if you've ever gone to somebody to have an Akashic record reading, you'll see that happening. You'll see that person asking for the gatekeepers to open the record. And then as soon as the reading is done, they close the record back up. In the meditation that I lead people in, I take them right to their records and envision it and open up something that they want to learn in that record. We can all do this. We all have access because it's our energy. It's in our DNA. Everything that we have ever experienced and ever will experience is in our DNA, and we have access to that. We just, it's kind of like opening up to your spiritual gifts. Once you know that they're there, once you're told, oh wow, I can tap into my clairvoyance, I can tap into my clairaudience, then you can begin to focus on it. Same thing with your Akashic records. Once you're aware that they're there are many people that don't even know about this, that don't even know that everything that you've experienced is there to still be looked at, to still be accessed and learned from. And that's the reason you want to go in and see what's in your records. You want to learn. You want to tap into, maybe there's something in this lifetime that I'm feeling the effects of something in a different lifetime, that I'm still pulling that energy into me right now, in the here and now. So you can look and see and ask the question, is this the case? Is there something I need to know for my best and highest good that will help me in this lifetime, this current experience here on this 3D level? So there's a lot of people that are trained to take you into your records, but you can also learn about it yourself, and you can take that journey and go open your own records and close your own records when you're done. And it's a beautiful experience. I'll be happy to share what I know. I know we're running out of time, but maybe we could have another discussion and really go more in depth into what the Akashic records entail, and that specific, what it means to talk to the gatekeeper, what it means to open up one of your records and see what's there and get more specific about it.
Yeah, because they can really have, as you said, Terry, we bring every experience that we have in other dimensions uh, with us into this one. And so oftentimes we'll repeat patterns, or we'll do things that just honestly don't make a whole lot of sense in the big scheme of things. So, and the flip side to that, uh, we we have a tendency sometimes, like with my foot, it came from another lifetime. Now you went in and saw this life, and then as you brought it up, then I started seeing it too, and then between the two of us, we really started pulling this together.
Mm-hmm.
All of these other dimensions can have an impact on this one, and oftentimes our goal is to heal those aspects of ourselves in other dimensions. We're working in multiple dimensions at the same time. I do want to say, Deirdre said, so how do common folks like myself do that accessing to the Akashic records? I've never been there myself, Deirdre, so I get it. So
Okay, so I'm feeling my arm being twisted, so I'm maybe going to have to add another workshop.
I think she should do that, Eric. Don't you think, everybody? She should add another workshop. I'm liking that idea. Yeah, because I would like to explore that. I've known about them forever, and I've had Akashic record readings. And there are those people that we know that teach, and you also teach how to go into the Akashic records. So, oh, I'm getting all kinds of hearts from Deirdre, and a few laughter. She's laughing at me, I think, just a little bit. But that's okay, because I laugh at myself all the time.
We feel the love.
Yeah. So
Awesome.
this has been a really, really great conversation, Terry. And I want to go back just for briefly for a moment with the Ho'oponopono and do kind of a recap on that. And one of the things that I would ask everyone to do is to do the Ho'oponopono to Mother Earth, to the sun, to the moon, to the cosmos. Where we're at right now in this time in our history, we've been sent to our rooms because guess what? We haven't been good stewards of the planet. And yeah, I recycle and I really try to be careful and I use environmentally friendly products. But guess what? Through this whole time, I've realized that there are so many ways that I have not contributed to the health of the planet, that I haven't contributed to the higher vibration of the universe. We're all connected. There is no separation. And like I said, the other day, I laid out on the ground, face down, spread eagle. And I did Ho'opono. I held Mother Earth. I held her. And I said, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I wanted her to know how much I loved her, you know, how much I loved her for allowing me to be on her back and to be here and to have this experience. And I'm so sorry that I have not made you a priority in my life, that I have so taken you for granted in every way, shape, and form. And please forgive me. Please, please, please forgive me, because it was not a conscious thing. I just was lazy and I just didn't pay attention. And I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. And thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for allowing all of humanity to be on you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And I meant it. And then I took it to the sun and I took it to the moon and I took it to the universe. And it's so important that we do this. It really is important that we do this. And we do this with each other, with every single person, because I guarantee you, if you have spoken to one person today or a dozen people today, there is a good chance you may have hurt their feelings, whether consciously or unconsciously, or within at least the last month or 2 months or a year, that you too have probably done one thing, maybe to hurt someone, whether you were conscious of it or not. But if you are aware, please do the Ho'oponopono and clean that up. Clean it up for yourself, clean it up for humanity. Terry, how can people get a hold of you? I'm sorry. Oh my gosh, I got a little carried away.
That's right. On my website is angelspeakers.com. You can fill out the contact form to get right in touch with me. And you can find me on Facebook, Tazzy321, Terry Angel, that's me.
I know.
So please do reach out. We have a wonderful group called the Angelic River Family. And in that group, we do a lot of love. We do a lot of bonding together. And Jeryl Ann and I do a show every morning called Coffee and Conversation, and bring lots of love energy to the group and to the world, because we do this. We lift each other up. We lift the world up for a blessing and to really be prosperous and for whatever is the best and highest good for all of us. So yeah, reach out.
Eastern time. And Terry has several shows on. Terry, would you give them a rundown real quick of your shows that you've got on every week? You've got so many of them. Gratitude Happy Hours. Yeah. Okay, I can, because I'm a big fan of Terry's, as you all know. She does at 5 p.m. Eastern time on Tuesdays, Gratitude Happy Hour. And every other Thursday, she does Gratitude Happy Hour with Karen Palmer. And then the other Thursday, she does the Broader Edge with this incredible group of ladies. It's a new show on the Enlightened World Network, Enlightened Living. Are you on Enlightened Living?
We are on Enlightened World Network.
Okay, Enlightened World Network. And this is an Enlightened World Network show. Rising Up with Jeryl Ann. I'm part of the Enlightened World Network family. They have 2 pages, EWN Enlightened World Network and EWN Enlightened Living. And the programming on these two channels is amazing. They have two channels now, two pages, because we have so much programming. And it's everything from relationships to, I mean, our coffee and conversation in the morning, and Terry's shows and mediums. I mean, and we have Robert Painley. So there are so many high vibrational, positive, uplifting shows on this network. Please tune in, and also our own Diana Allison Beiersdorfer. She has come to the playground every morning at 9:30, and our inner child gets to go out and play every morning. Terry,
I saw Lily Ortega come in to the group. Lily and I do a show on Fridays at 1 o'clock Eastern time. Angel speakers, interpretado en español. Now that's the extent of my Spanish, so don't even ask me what it means. No, I'm kidding. So what happens on that show is the angels channel messages. They bring a message to everybody and then answer some of the questions from people in the audience, and maybe you'll get a message. And then Lily takes what I say and turns that into Spanish. So it's a beautiful way to reach out to anyone who doesn't understand English or understand it well enough to really understand what the angels are saying.
Yeah.
Oh, there's Lily. Hi, honey. And then on tomorrow, on Sundays, every Sunday, we do a silent meditation for about half an hour. There's this beautiful music playing. You sit and meditate. And then Ruth Anderson, the founder of Enlightened World, and Deb Goldberg and myself sit in meditation together. And then we come back and share what the angels, what our spirit guides have shown us. It's beautiful. And tomorrow at 11, we're doing Come to the Table. If you're new on your path of enlightenment, your path of spirituality, we welcome you to come to that show and ask your questions. Don't you wish, Jeryl Ann, that you had somebody when you were first waking up, when you first realized there was something more than just this physical existence?
Yes.
I wish you had somebody that could have answered some of those questions.
I really do, Terry. You and I have had this conversation so many times. We both started on our path about 35 years ago, and there wasn't internet. There wasn't, I mean, you had to travel for hours to get even to maybe a metaphysical store, and then they were teeny tiny, or one shelf in a bookstore. So yeah, we are in such a blessed time right now with information and people who are so enlightened and so gifted. And
that's what the show is about. The Come to the Table is to just anybody that has a question, and it doesn't matter how basic your question is. We want to be there and give some insight into how we handled it, what we learned.
Absolutely.
Come tomorrow, 11 o'clock, and ask your questions. We want that to be a very interactive show.
Awesome. And just one last message, tomorrow morning at Coffee and Conversation, and Wendy mentioned this, and at the very end of the show at around 8:15 a.m. Eastern time, Terry does the most beautiful meditation and lifts up prayers. People get put in their prayer requests, and the response has been incredible. People have had the most amazing healings. And so if you have someone that you want lifted up in prayer, please join us in the morning and give us your prayer request. And the meditations are gorgeous. She takes us through our own healing and then healing for others, and then we share the love. So with that being said, please, I thank you, Terry. This has been amazing as always. You know I love you. And I am so excited that everybody was with us here tonight. Next week on the show, Deb Goldberg of Enlightened World Network and Divine Relationships is going to be with me. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about divine relationships and all kinds of good stuff. So please join me again next Saturday night at 8 p.m. here on Rising Up with Jeryl Ann. We love you all. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you. And I'll see you next week. Y'all have a great day, evening, day for some people. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.